2016 volume was 8 million hex, which is a lot of beer. 8 million hex? Wow. Fuck, right?
How much have we? What percentage did we drink of that? 8
million?
at
least 2 million.
I'm like 2.
My gut is telling me that shit.
Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead.
And I'm Scott, your cold beer enthusiast.
And welcome to episode 88.
What?
Of Beer Guys Shit the Podcast. 88 is one of my favorite numbers that's got a whole
And
long
why
story.
Is that? There's a hip-hop
It's a hip-hop thing.
there.
It's kind of long, it's kind of stupid, but me and Brad have been kind of obsessed with it for a while. So the fact we got to episode 88, it's pretty cool. 88 episodes.
Represent.
That's a lot of fucking episodes.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
We're almost to 100. We're almost triple digits.
We've got some ideas of what we want to do for episode 100,
Yes.
but we haven't really pulled the trigger yet. So
Got to be something big, right?
we have to do something pretty decent.
Yeah.
So we'll have to discuss that at some point, because it's gonna come up on us real quick, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be bam, because it's 88 already, and that kind of seems ridiculous.
Well, this is our BAOS East set.
Ooh, I
guess
like
we would
that.
call it, right?
I like that.
Yeah, so you guys kind of did a little redecorate. This is our first podcast on the new set, as we'll call it. The redecorate in your apartment. It looks awesome.
It's nice, right?
I feel
Different energy.
comfortable. It's
kind of fresh and
that's
new.
what it feels like.
Yeah, I'm satisfied here. Much more
The feng shui is it's happening.
And
I'm
that's what we're
feeling
here
yeah.
So
Got a little sign back here too.
a little sign. We
At
kind
BAOS.
of jacked. At BAOS Podcast. Follow us. Hit thumbs up on the video already for the sign, because the sign's fire.
Already.
I'm just saying.
Already.
Shouts to Adam Brewhead for.
He's a G.
we stole your idea, man. Okay, we stole.
He's a G.
All right, fuck.
He's a G.
He's a G. All right.
Loves pickles.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Pickles are the best.
Right.
So this episode is the second part in a series of episodes we're planning to do, showcasing various regions.
Right. So the last one we did was showcasing Quebec as a
Yes,
whole.
correct.
And we kind of figured we realized we weren't focusing enough on Ontario and Quebec. And
In general, yes.
in general, and being that we are from both Ontario and Quebec, we figured we should give some love to the places that we reside in. So
Yes.
we were planning initially on doing this one back in Ontario,
yeah.
but the real point is we have the beer from Ontario,
And that's really what matters.
That's what matters
We're
most.
going to do different. We're going to do a Vermont one and Ottawa
Yes.
and different regions, but we might not always be there.
right?
When we do it, we'll try
So
to.
we do it when we can, and we happen to be here right now. So this
Scotty
is our
brought-
Ontario
yeah.
feature. I brought a few down. You had a couple yourself, so
We have a
do you
nice
want to kind
little
of go
mishmash.
through what we have?
Well, you want to start from the left?
Sure. We have Collective Arts Mash Up the Jam. It's a dry hop sour, which is one of my favorite styles. I have not had this particular beer,
Looking forward
but
to
I
it.
am super stoked to get
So
into
they were an
this.
hour west of Toronto.
Yes.
So
So this is kind of west in the GTA area.
In that sort of
Yep.
side.
Next one to go on the outside there.
Now we have from Barrie, which is about an hour north of Toronto, is Flying Monkeys live transmission. Let's look at Milkshake IPA.
Yes.
I have had this. Fantastic. This is actually cool because it's available at the LCBO.
Yes.
Super.
Which is where I got it from.
You got it from them?
Yep.
And it's the most widely available milkshake IPA in the province. And also Barrie is dope as shit. So
I have not tried it, so I'm...
you haven't had it?
No,
Oh,
I'm
sick.
so
You got to be very
so-
happy, man.
Yep.
It's great.
Next one, this is Elora Borealis from Elora Brewing Co. It's a Citra Pale Ale.
Super fire.
I
You've
can't
had
remember
this?
when I had it.
A while ago?
Yeah, I unassumingly had it and I was like, wow, what is this? I was
it's
like,
so
what the
impressive.
hell is this? It was fantastic. We saw them again at the...
Oh, that Toronto Fest you and
Yes,
Brad went to?
Yes.
Toronto Winter Beer Fest.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
They were there, and I was praising them for this beer because it was fantastic when I had it, so I figured this is a great representation.
And they're about-
Elora is west.
Northwest
Sorry,
of
northwest,
Guelph.
yes.
So they're probably another solid hour or so past Hamilton. So I guess that represents kind of West Ontario.
Yep, let's say western.
Ish.
Yep.
So coming back to Toronto, we got Bellwoods. This is their brand new Milkshake Raspberry Milkshake IPA.
So I guess we have two Milkshake IPAs.
That's what we like.
Guilty pleasure. You know.
Fuck it, and it's because it's brand new, and this was really kind of hard to get. Shouts to Brad and my brother Notion who picked them up for
Always
me.
a G lining up
So
for
we're gonna-
the fire
so
stuff
the
when we
beers-
can't get there.
So at least you get to try this one, which
Yes.
is very important. And finally,
Last but not least, so this is you added this to the kind of repertoire from your
Yes, I had this for a while.
stash. So Stone City Ales, who we love, who absolutely
huge
make
fan.
fire
Shouts
stuff.
to Justin.
Justin in the house. This is Chloé Saison. It's a French Saison brewed with Barbe Rouge hops.
Yeah, something new,
which I haven't had.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And
he told me specifically this is the 2017ers, and he told me to hang on to it for at least 6 months.
It is I haven't even cracked it yet, but it is like clear
as day. But maybe one of those ones that'll like something will happen when you pop it. But he said to keep it upright for 6 months, and it's been probably, I reckon, like last summer I got it. So.
Which means that all the sediment would have settled to the bottom.
Exactly, so maybe we'll give it a little swell. But we figured this is a nice representation from as far
like some east, some west. I mean, we haven't covered the entire province, but let's be honest, how many can we really select for?
And we just kind of want to talk about Toronto beer and Ontario beer and just what we feel about the scene out there and stuff.
Right.
So what did we say we'll start with? Probably the Elora, or do you want to start with the dry hop?
No, I think
probably
we said Elora first, yeah.
Well, the only way to open it would be with the trusty BrewHeads opener.
Fire!
Which is now back in stock. So use our coupon code. We'll probably put it in the description. I think we usually do that for podcasts. I'm not even sure. But it wasn't in stock for ages. And because we keep constantly promoting it, Phil was like, all right.
It's okay, we get it.
Stock
we'll
here.
bring it back.
Jesus. So that was pretty lit.
Yeah.
So I was happy that
this is sick. Did they do the dark mahogany one too?
Yeah, the dark one, the light one.
So this one, that one, doesn't matter what color it is. It's a wicked opener.
You just
doesn't bend your caps. Easy. It has a magnet in it. I keep it like stuck to my little bar
fridge,
cart or fridge.
Oh, you do the bar
bar cart, fridge, or anything. It's easy. You just chuck it on. It hangs down there. Feels nice in your hand. It's like
grip. It's just money. There's nothing I don't like about it.
There's nothing I don't like about it.
Makes me sick.
Yeah.
Let me get Tiff's glass over yonder. Oh, thanks, Chicken. You're a gentleman and a scholar. So, nice little hazy pale ale. So basically, Ontario beer is phenomenal.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I feel honored to live in the province of Ontario because I feel like Ontario has been one of the front runners in Canada for craft beer.
Yes.
Since kind of craft beer came about. Absolutely. Or since at least I started learning about it.
For sure.
And it wasn't always great. But they were people doing things and trying new things. There's some really old, Toronto specifically, breweries that have been around for over 30 years already, right?
Correct.
So
some of the oldest in the country.
They've kind of been in the forefront of Ontario craft since the beginning, and they've continued to progress so, and I think are still one of the best, if not the best, places to get beer in the entire country. So
agreed.
I think it's really cool what's happening here, and just the progression and the collabs are super cool. What are your thoughts? Being someone who has lived in Ontario in the past.
Yes, and I'm there often.
Yeah.
I love Ontario beer. It's gone like leaps and bounds. I definitely want to cheers this real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, this is beautiful. First things first. Cheers.
Oh, wow. Tiff is just...
Almost. You almost...
Get it in ya. Yeah, it's a gem. What a great beer.
Nice.
Chalky, dusty.
Yeah.
Nice and fruity. It's fantastic.
A little bit of like a grapefruit on the tail end there.
A little touch of bitterness, a little bit dank. But yeah, Ontario beer. So when we first, to pull it back, like right now, like to echo what you're saying, I agree wholeheartedly. Ontario beer is pushing the boundaries in Canada. For sure. I feel like they're one of the provinces that are very much looking to the outside.
Yes.
And focusing on what everyone else is doing and learning from that, and then applying it in a much faster time, like cycle than anywhere else that I've seen. Perhaps maybe BC, but we don't have enough sort of like on the ground experience out there. But when we first we talk about this a bunch. When we first got into, like, it was 2011, early 2011, we got into craft beer.
Yep.
And Ontario breweries were just doing English style beers. Like, they weren't
fairly standard stuff.
Yeah, I was never excited about it. I was more excited about the Euro lagers and stuff, to be honest, than like a lot of the English boring ass shit that dudes were doing out here. Some of the earlier breweries, but that's how it started. I mean, like here in Montreal, they were doing Belgian, but out there they were doing English stuff, and it was not really like. It's more. I think it's just more. It wasn't good or bad. It was just.
It wasn't cutting edge. It wasn't. It
was just there.
Standard stuff. I mean, it was better than Canadian Coors Blue Export and what is such, right? Yeah. But it wasn't inspiring. It was kind of stuff that had been done before. I mean, it was better than the usual suspects, but it wasn't anything
like crazy
that you'd write home about.
Yeah,
but
branding included.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's another big thing
get
too.
To that,
we'll get to that after, but fairly standard styles. And then kind of through trying all these beers, I noticed some of the breweries were doing some interesting stuff. I remember one that stuck out in my mind was Great Lakes did a few kind of, I guess, out-of-the-box style of beers. And I was like, that sounds really cool. And they're doing like...
like Miami Vice.
The Vice one. But they had that like that green tea ale.
Yes, that was cool.
And they had just like some like different like orange, using some different adjuncts that just seemed cool to me. And I'm like, well, that sounds awesome. Beer fun, with like orange or beer with green tea in it. So, we kind of started trying that stuff. And then I noticed more and more breweries were doing these kind of different styles that I hadn't seen before, or adding different fruits and stuff. And I got into like the real like... different beers added with like a bunch of places did blueberry beers, and I was like, blueberry beer, that sounds amazing, right?
Nuts.
So I hopped on that, and it was kind of just been a snowball effect ever since. And I think you mentioned earlier, Ontario's taken a lot of influence from other places, whether it be collabing with them or trying a style that maybe they've seen somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think in doing so, they've like perfected it and excelled at these styles that maybe weren't their own at first, but have kind of become like an Ontario staple in kind of the craft beer scene. So
yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And I had a few little facts here. I agree with everything you're saying. So as of February 2018, since May, there are 242 operating breweries in Ontario, across 110 communities in the province, which is pretty good. 72 contract brewers of that, and there's at the time there was 100 other breweries in the planning or startup stage.
Wow,
which is significant. 90 of those craft breweries of the 242 are members of the OCB, which is the Ontario Craft Brewers. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff about economic impact and sales and market share and blah blah blah. 2016 volume was 8 million hex, which is a lot of beer. 8 million hex, fuck, right?
How much have we? What percentage did we drink of that? 8 million?
at least 2 million.
I'm like 2.
My gut is telling me that shit. Anyway, so that's pretty impressive. 242 breweries.
Did you say anything about the growth over like
over time?
Yeah,
it's like a quick PDF. I think it gives you like a snapshot. That's a really good point.
So I just feel like in the years we've been kind of into the Ontario craft scene, it's grown exponentially. So.
Yes. The market share in Ontario craft beer, as of 2017, 7.6% market share, which is pretty low, because in Canada I heard it was 5 overall. So in Ontario, craft beer has 7.6.
Okay.
So that's not bad.
Yep.
And they think it'll grow this year with the early indications. The grocery channel looks very positive at under 20% share. So I'm not sure what that means. If 300 groceries announced and operating, meaning
they're expanding the beer and wine sales in the grocery stores, and
they're going up to 450 stores by next year. So that's something really it's a big deal for Ontario to move into to that. That's something we should talk about, is the Ontario system, and talk about that in detail. $370 million in sales last year, up from 240 in 2015. Wow. So that's a pretty serious growth.
That's close to double. Yeah,
that's pretty serious growth.
Is there a place in Ontario that you haven't been that you'd like to explore for craft beer?
Great question. Yes. Well, the Junction in Toronto. Yeah, clearly. I'd like to go, and I want to do this summer. I've talked about it. I'd like to get out to, and I have been there, but not properly, like recently. I want to go down to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo kind of way, Guelph way.
Big scene out there, yeah.
Yeah, I want to go. Shouts to Hillary, Pretty Penny. We were talking about that, and shouts to Ren, Navarro as well. Oh yeah, Pretty Penny, bam, bam, bam. As always, I want to interview Barncat, who had one of their beers finally recently, and they're like, all they hate. It's just out of control.
They're haze for days out there, right?
Mate, I'm so keen. I want to go talk to Wellington. I want to talk to Royal City. I want to talk to Block 3, Kevin up there. Places like even Elora, all those, that area. There's just a whole, and Nickelbrook. Shouts to Matt. We've never been out there since 2011.
Yeah, since we first started this.
I talk to them all the time, and we always support their shit, and they're like, dudes, come down. We just haven't figured it out. So I'm hoping something we can just do one night and at least do 4 podcasts or something out there.
That'd be crazy. I'd be into
little 1-2 vlog or whatever, something like that. What about you?
I'd like to visit Stone City Ales. I mean,
you haven't been?
No.
Oh, good Lord, Scott Beer Colony.
And these are guys you introduced me to. So
yes. Oh, man. I love Stone City.
My province, you know.
That's my province. Nah. You actually did a nice little transition there. If everyone's ready, or did I jump the gun here?
Nope.
So this is their Chloé Saison, French Saison brew with bar brewed hops and Brettanomyces. It is 5.9%. Like I said, Uncle Justin was like, fam, did you want to watch that? Are you good to go?
Yeah.
Justin was like, aged this shit for a little bit, so I probably had it a year or so. I am such a huge fan of everything collective, Jesus Christ, let's look at that, of Stone City. Thank you, baby. And yeah, man, these guys are running Kingston. Kingston is actually a great idea, and the whole Prince Edward County, because I think that kind of like taps into that. You're welcome. So this is was a release like last year.
That bottle is very Dunham-esque.
Very Dunham-esque. It's a big bust. I've had it in the back of the fridge for a while because I just wanted to let it sit there.
Nice.
So look at that, crystal clear. I could read Charles Dickens through this, man. Bready on the nose, huge fluffy head.
Little funk.
A little bit of funk.
Yeah.
Get it inside of you.
Get it in, yeah.
Give it. Nice. I'll review that after. I like it.
That's almost Dunham-esque on the flavor as well.
Super Dunham-esque, super sharp. Man, Justin doesn't mess around like some of their beers, man. Their Yacht Rock Goza. I know we were talking about it earlier because Nate guessed it in the Hops and Bros video.
That's the one I'm just remembering now because Nate guessed it. You told me because you're like, oh my god, it's this hazy Goza. I remember you telling me about that way back.
Like out of control. It's like a milkshake Goza. Like it's one of my favorite beers. Please bring it back. So I'm gonna hit up Justin as well this summer, my fam. Like I told him last summer, he's like, "Yo, get you a case of it."
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Damn.
Like I don't think he was gonna give it to me, but like he's like, make sure we get a case. Yeah, he's pretty much I'll hold it for you. So every time I went by, I got like 4 of them or something like that. Because I usually swing by on the way to Toronto. Like Tiff, I just want to swing past Stone City real quick. But yeah, no, huge fan. That whole region, man, like Prince Edward County, shouts to them, like, shouts to Nat and Drew at 555 and Brett's out there now. Yes. From Bali days, he used to be out there. Like that whole region is kind of like coming up. McKinnon brothers, I believe.
Prince Edward County All-Stars out there.
They really are. Yeah, Prince Edward, that's a really great region of Ontario. So like going from east to west. Yeah. I know up in north of Sudbury, there's like Half Hours on Earth. Like I only had their beers recently, and it's just phenomenal. Like I can't speak highly enough about that stuff. It's just so well made. Like you can just taste that quality. Yeah, that's why it's $5.50 for a short can, because that shit is out of control. There's probably mad ingredients in there too,
but worth it. Yeah, when you put the time, the effort, and the money into it, it's quantity over quality always.
Other way around.
Quality over quantity.
It's been always a long day. Don't worry about that. So Ontario beer definitely is moving in the right direction, and I agree with what you said initially that it feels like it's sort of one of the leaders in the country. I'm sorry. Toronto is always a place where things happen first, where all the tours come through there. Right. All the shit that goes down. Tiff and I are always pissed off because like certain things, we don't get in here in Montreal. It's kind of like Melbourne was always the second city, like Sydney. Everything came to. It pissed me off, but I was like, you have to go to Toronto for things. So like Ontario really is doing that. So if maybe people in BC would take exception to that because they're really doing some crazy stuff with haze and everything. Because that West Coast.
I'm a little disconnected. It feels like it's so far away. I haven't had a ton from there.
BC and you haven't traded. The only reason I know because I traded. Right. I haven't been there for fucking since 2004. It's a long time.
I've only been to the Vancouver airport briefly on a layover. So I think I had a beer in the airport and it was like a local beer. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they usually have Whistler on top and stuff like that there. But yeah, Ontario is really, really like pushing the scene forward, and Tiff and I go to Vermont pretty often. People are amped about Quebec beer, but I think they're almost more amped about Ontario beer because it's harder for them to get. Right. Like sometimes my friend Rob, shouts to Rob, he's like, yo, bring me some Bellwoods, because I got him fucked up off that. Like, so now he's about that life. So every time I go down, I try and bring him a little something whatever I've got from there, and Yeah, it's really like changing the game, and just like something like even last summer, if you want to really talk about that, like say something like Witchstock, I think we should talk about that. And then now that's led into things like the Liquid Arts Festival that Collective are doing this year.
Yeah, they kind of led the way in that, is made a international beer fest, but had it at the brewery, which I think was
genius move,
a great move, but one of the first to do so in Ontario, no?
For sure. Yeah. Like, there might have been other smaller versions. I mean, like, you want to give Sawdust City props for Funk Fest.
For sure.
Because they're bringing in stuff. The reason
was Funk Fest international, or was Funk Fest... I think it was all Ontario, wasn't it?
It was most of that. Had some stuff from Quebec. Because they made, they have the BC guys come in and shit. Witchstock changed the game because
they brought a bunch of American breweries that we can't get, that are not readily available, or not available at all unless you're trading or you're traveling and going and getting them yourself. So.
And you're not trading over the border, someone's still bringing over, or you're going to Buffalo or some shit. Like, it's not happening. So for them to bring in brewers like particularly Trillium, Other Half, Jay Wakefield, and then in Beavertown in the UK, they had Four Winds, and like. They had a whole bunch of other stuff that was just like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? It was crazy. It was like such a game changer. That was September last year. Yep. And then now this year, Liquid Arts Fest. We actually read it out just before in another video.
Crazy lineup.
Crazy lineup. Aslan, Other Half are on there as well. Yeah. There's just so many breweries that are just out of control. On that, so it's almost like, they leveled up, and like, then Fudu Ni came out, and like, you like that shit? Let me check it. And then they leveled up and that's the Quebec one. Yeah. And then back to Witchstock again for 2018. They released the lineup.
The list, did they?
Yeah, they released.
I haven't seen that yet.
Might as well pull it up. It's pretty crazy. Like, and it's not surprising that it's as fire as it is. Like, fuck man, these guys are out of control. It's exactly kind of what you would expect them to do.
Is Hill Farmstead going to be there?
Let me tell you. Alafoot, Beavertown, I think they were. Cantillon, Cloudwater from the UK.
Nice, I've been wanting to try them for time.
Judiciel, Dunham, Evil Twin, Foam, Forest and Maine, who I'd heard about. Four Winds.
Stupid.
Tilkin, House of Fermentology, which is part of Foam. Jay Wakefield, Other Half. Oxbow, Penn Druid.
Well, Oxbow was that the last one too.
Speciation, which were the Michigan guys that if we knew about it beforehand, we would have got it.
Sure,
but we fucked up and didn't go, and everything was gone by the time someone told us.
MFer.
The Veil, amazing. Yep. Trillium, Triple Crossing, TRVE. I haven't even heard of them. Now they actually had.
When do tickets go on sale for that? It's sooner rather than later, isn't it?
No, they're not on sale yet at all. Otherwise, they'd be fucking gone.
No. There's going to be apparently a lot of notifications before.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's going to be like crazy. It's September 29th. Right. And I swear, I was just looking for it. I swear they had additional notification, like additional like launch of like, we did this or whatever. So there was something else. I don't recall exactly, but like that's crazy. So like Ontario's definitely sort of led the way with bringing that sort of level of fire, and then Dunham worked closely with Bellwoods, so I'm not surprised that and then Bellwoods are working with Four Winds, and then Dunham are working with Twin Sails. I got their with beer. We talked with Elora about that shit. Like all of these like fire breweries are all unsurprisingly working together, and they're just bringing that in. I just felt like Ontario kind of like out of the four we mentioned, the two Witchstocks, Liquid Arts, and the Fudu, like three of them are in Ontario.
That's crazy. Where do you think Ontario is like messing up? Where is it missing the mark? Like what aren't we doing right? Because we talked about how
sick it is,
all the good stuff. Yeah.
I don't like the system. I think they need to open up the laws, and I think the main thing is availability, in my opinion. Like price doesn't really bother me too much. I think it's probably more expensive in Quebec, to be honest. I think availability and trust. They need to trust their people. And give people that sort of respect.
So that's not like, from a brewery. That's a government aspect. That's not like.
So you think from the beer side?
Not necessarily. I'm just saying in general. Yeah,
that's the first thing that comes to mind. Is that bothers me the most? Is that like you just should be able to get fire anywhere you want to go, and anywhere that wants to stock it. If a particular business wants to stock alcohol or craft beer, they should be able to do it. And I don't like restriction. I think it's ridiculous. As far as like beer itself, for those like more people are doing it, but I'd still like to see a few more breweries travel travel and collaborate. I think that's really, really key.
I think it's starting to happen a lot.
It's happening way more than it used to.
Used to, yeah, exactly.
And that's really cool. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Like on what Ontario's not doing?
Yeah, what are they not doing? What are they not doing? What's something that maybe they can fix up on?
Well, to be honest, kind of the media in Ontario beer kind of irks me because
we can talk about that.
I think there just needs to be more love. There needs to be more acceptance, and from a media aspect, from just people enjoying beer, whether it be beer writers, beer bloggers, podcasters, even people just posting, YouTubers, Instagrammers, everything. Like there needs to be more of an acceptance. Realize that everyone's on a different level and everyone brings something different to the table. I think the whole point is just like love and bring everyone up, because that's the way I was introduced to craft beer and Ontario craft beer. Was it's all about love and acceptance and stuff like that. And I feel like there's too much hate and slander going on in the scene,
judgment
and stuff like that. So it's just like negative vibes. And for me, beer is such like a positive thing. Like I want kind of everyone to appreciate it and enjoy it the same way I do. And I don't think there should be any judgments being passed on, particular people like that. So
I agree.
And it's a specific thing to Ontario, it seems. Like, not to say it doesn't happen in other places, but it seems more prevalent in Ontario.
Absolutely,
from my experience. Yeah,
the brewers have said like, "Hey man, like I'm so like this is fucked up," and this is not like trying to toot our horn, but people say like, "Man, like you guys are like a breath of fresh air. You guys are positive."
Yeah,
I'm like, why? That is fucked up. Why are we have to be why is it just us that are the positive guys?
I know.
Like that's terrible.
Yeah,
that someone would say that to us. Like we are positive because we give a shit about beer and we respect entrepreneurs and we respect the breweries, even if they're not fire yet. We'll never shit on a brewery. You'll never hear a shit on a brewery unless it's kind of a macro. Like we shit on them.
Sure.
But like it's not like we're gonna be these guys suck. Like, that particular beer had some flaws. Well, or that brewery's new. Let's give them some time to see what's popping.
And we always talk about that. Like you have to understand, this is someone, if they're opening a craft brewery and they're putting their ass on the line, their money on the line, their family on the line, their everything on the line, and maybe their first batch of beers weren't that great. I'm not going to be like shit all over and say like, wow, this is fucking trash, don't buy this, don't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
For me, it's like, it's all about talking about the positive.
Oh yeah.
Be like, this beer's this brewery's in a new area, and they have a nice variety of beers, come check it out. They're still new, so they're still working on the recipes, but like for me, it's focus on the positive, not the negative. And I think there's too many people focusing on the negative and not paying enough attention to the positive.
Yeah, so. And writing them off without even giving them a fair chance.
You got to give people a chance.
Like
right?
Best example is like Bellwoods, who my personal favorite brewery in the country. They were not world-changing fire when they opened.
No,
and like a year after
there, we were there. We used to live on Ossington, so we were there. Their soft open before like the. They were even
because we were just amped. There was a brewery in that area.
We're just and we heard good things about it, and we showed up, and it was super cool. But like, I think they had a bunch of guest taps, but also their stuff was just like, yeah, man, it's pretty good.
It was all good, but it wasn't like
it hasn't
world changing like it is now.
Over the years, it's evolved,
and we could have been like, we weren't be media back then.
Sure,
so like people could have been like, yeah, fuck these guys, like they suck, like this shit is like wow, but like, dude, they're new. Give them like 5 minutes to get good. Did we have any other questions for Ontario, things we want to like shoot around? Anything else that pops in? Because we've been sitting here for an hour and 40. Not bad. Talking about Toronto.
Pretty good for a solo.
Yeah. It was always nice to do these ones whenever we can. We don't get together enough. So it's, this was good. This was something that we really want to continue this series of beer. And I'd like to get to Ottawa this summer and do one with Chris and Nate up there.
Yep.
And do something like a day crib or whatever, and do a bunch of Ottawa podcasts and stay for like just go out for a day, stay for the night, do one with them, one with the brewery, couple with breweries the next day, whatever.
Sounds like a nice trip.
Easy to come back, you know. That'd be a fun thing this summer. So if there's no other things we want to discuss.
Yeah, maybe I always like to ask the people, like, what do you think about what we've talked about today? Like, what are your opinions, comments, questions, concerns? Do you have a favorite brewery in Ontario? What is your favorite Ontario
beers?
style? What's your favorite Ontario Beer Festival? Let us know your opinions on Ontario craft
anything
beer.
we discussed as well. Like if you agree or disagree with any of the things, you know, what they said about the LCBO or whatever, just any sort of feedback to get a dialogue, because you know, we basically really like we've sort of said a bunch recently, we're really focusing on representing for Ontario, Quebec, Vermont is kind of like our like,
it's like the little
triangle, you know, Toronto, Ottawa, Quebec, Montreal, Burlington type of thing, like a little squad out here, just really trying to focus, and we've been doing that for the last like little while, and it's been honestly better than sort of I anticipated it to be. I'm really enjoying it. And
it's kind of like, you know, it's like a staycation. We're experiencing our own provinces, whereas I think before we were kind of going everywhere else, and now we're kind of like let's enjoy what we have here because we have a pretty good thing going. So,
yeah. I'm like, you know, I'm just really proud of what we have, like in this little, you know, 6 hours that way, 2 hours that way, hour and a half that way from here.
Yeah, we're like a day trip in any direction. So,
or less, like, you know, like, yeah, you can do a day, well, maybe not a day trip to Toronto and back, that'd be kind of crazy, but like we're really lucky. We're very blessed. We have a lot of great stuff. Ontario is a fantastic province that has fantastic beers across the whole spectrum of it, from east to west. And we touched on probably this just southern Ontario. Yeah, we didn't drink anything from mid or northern Ontario, from Thunder Bay, from Sudbury, from like where Half Hours on Earth is. We did none of stuff
up there too.
None of that stuff.
We just kept it to kind of our little
what
bubble,
we have access to, because we don't really have access to any of that stuff.
That's true.
So that's kind of what we want to discuss. And if there's things that we should be checking out, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, let us know.
Please do. Anything else, Tiff? Feeling good about that? Yeah. So, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, please smash that big fat thumbs up below. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next shit is popping. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. And, of course, follow us for the long-form audio like these ones on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your talking media. Hit review, rate, subscribe, all that bullshit. That is it, y'all.
And most importantly... Get it in ya!